Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that.
Welcome to the Hutcheson House Reacts. Of course, that's a man that they want to imprison. They used to love Elon Musk, and now they hate him. But to get to the title of this video, which is the Kamala camps amping up their rhetoric and really actually hate speech about Donald Trump. But see, unfortunately, Donald Trump set himself up a bit because we all know that freedom of speech still sort of exists in the United States of America. And we all know that comics can be really funny or really not funny, depending upon how the joke goes. And that can be a really hard job, just like anything. But comedy is especially difficult. And I think anybody can agree that if you're a stand-up comic or otherwise, and you're trying to tell jokes at one of the most publicized political rallies, there is quite a lot of pressure on you. So the setup was that Trump allows freedom of speech, ergo a comedian who is an insult comedian to tell jokes at his rally, and the left can't handle this. So this is what they were all up in arms about. But before we get to that, let's watch the positive energy, which really was what the entire night was about.
We're going to get the government off your back and out of your pocketbook. It's going to be great. America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing. You guys are awesome. Honestly, this is like... Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of positive energy that America is all about.
And that's what it is. It's positive energy. It's freedom of speech and happiness. And the thing is about this MAGA movement and the Republican Party is that nobody has this exact same script. So nobody's robotic and perfect. And that, in a way, is what makes them hate us even more, is because they are scripted. As an acting teacher, you can tell the difference between a line reading actor and somebody who's working from behavior, from the moment. In the Trump campaign, people are authentic and they joke around and there's nuance. And so everything's not perfectly scripted like an AI script. In the Kamala camp, it seems very scripted. So there's no room for error unless you're Tim Walz and you accidentally say you're friends with school shooters. But other than that, right, they're perfectly scripted. And other than when they're off the cuff and Kamala says, no, I wouldn't change anything. Nothing comes to mind. You know, stuff like that. Those are passable, though. It's okay. But for a comedian to tell a joke, not okay. So here's an example of positive energy. And now let's just take a peek at what it looks like when Beyonce gets up there to endorse Kamala. I wonder sometimes if some of these people, you know, are like, who has dirt on what, right? Who was at the Diddy party and has to do this endorsement? It was weird that Usher said that he doesn't get involved in politics at all. And, you know, everyone has a freedom to decide who they want. And that's not his place. And then like a couple weeks later, he's like, okay, we all have to vote for Kamala. And he also stayed at Diddy's house for a year when he was 13. So no Diddy. Let's watch.
I'm not here as a celebrity. I'm not here as a politician. I'm here as a mother. A mother who cares.
See, it's all very deliberate. Oh, now we're gaslit into, oh yeah, you're not a celebrity. Okay, you're not a musician. I forgot for a second how perfectly perfect you were with your big shouldered outfit. I forgot that isn't like high. That outfit probably costs like 10 grand. Okay.
Deeply about the world my children and all of our children live in. A world where we have the freedom to control our bodies.
But at the same time, you're saying that you can't control your body because you're already planning on things outside of your control to put you in a position where you would even get pregnant. So do you have control over your body?
A world where we're not divided. Our past, our present, our future.
We're not divided? Is that why the Kamala campaign is calling more than half the country Nazis? That sounds like kind of divisive language, I think.
Merge to meet us here. Seeing what's possible with no ceilings.
What do you mean? What's possible with no ceilings? Wait, let's hear.
No limitations.
No limitations, so you can have that grape and you could get that abortion as many times as you want. No limitations, none, except for if you get your, you know what, beat when you're trying to play sports against a biological man, because no matter how much you train your entire life, that little dream, you could kiss goodbye, because we're built differently naturally. There are certain things that are out of our control, that are from the divine, from God. And so you start messing with that, and it creates some complications. But never mind any of that. Never mind any of that.
Imagine our grandmothers. Imagine what they feel right now. Those who have lived to see this historic day.
This historic day that what?
Even those who are no longer physically with us. Imagine all of their sacrifice.
What do you mean? What sacrifice? All the babies that have been sacrificed? What are you talking about? Or are you talking about the soldiers in Afghanistan who lost their life because of the way that Kamala pulled out of Afghanistan? Or are you talking about this woman?
The sacrifices made so we can witness the strength of a woman.
Whoa, the sacrifices. I mean, this sounds sick. It sounds twisted. The sacrifices so that we can know the strength of a woman? What? I mean, that sounds scary, in my opinion. Doubt she's talking about the sacrifice of this lady. And by the way, Kyle Clark, these are the animals. I'll show you Kyle Clark here in a minute. Kyle Clark is a local news guy. These are the animals that Trump is talking about, since you have no idea.
The animals arrested for Jocelyn's barbaric murder are two illegal aliens believed to be members of the savage Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Aragua. And they're all over the place now. They're all over our country. They were in Aurora, but Aurora is now the least of it. They've taken over buildings in Aurora. The government, a radical left Democrat. These monsters were in Border Patrol custody, but under a program Kamala Harris created to abolish detention for fighting-aged men, whatever that means, and give them free and automatic entry into the United States. The killers were released into our country, and Alexis, we cannot begin to imagine your pain. And if you'd like to say a few words, would you like to? Would you? Thank you. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for the Donald Trump Rally, for the opportunity to be able to say my daughter's story. I know everybody knows somebody that was like her. She was 12. She was going to be a 7th grader, preteens. They think they're invincible. And she was just being a child. And due to the Biden-Harris policies we have here are why she's not here anymore. She was taken from her vulnerability, and they made her a target and ran with that. And now I will forever be a grieving mother, and my son will forever be a grieving brother who will no longer get to grow up with his sister. Kamala Harris has never reached out to me, just even as a human, to give her condolences as a humane person running this country. I appreciate everything Donald Trump, Senator Ted Cruz has done for me. They've been a tremendous amount of help for me and my family. I want to thank everybody for listening to my words. Thank you.
I want to show you this. This is our local news here in Colorado. Kyle Clark. Not all the local news is totally corrupt, but unfortunately Kyle Clark is. And he's looking for reasons to hate. And that's why the Trump rally was a perfect setup for Kamala and the Kamala camp who was believing that rhetoric, because they were looking for reasons to hate Trump and millions of people who support Trump, and reasons to call them Nazis. They were looking for that, right? And you can tell because this is what, leading up to this stuff, this is all that we've heard of these talking points, and they don't understand nuance. So Kyle Clark, I want to tell you, that's who he's talking about, is the monsters that hurt Jocelyn, monsters like that who are hurting other people. That's who he wants to get rid of. And when he talks about the enemy from within, it's because politicians have allowed that to happen. And when he bounces back and forth, because see, Donald Trump has nuance. And so he bounces back and forth between explaining that and going back to saying, we got to take care of the dirty politicians, but the military, he's going to have to take care of the monsters. See, so, he has already not put Hillary in jail, but he will expose these politicians, I believe. But I believe who he's talking about having the military take care of are these monsters that are hurting people, Kyle. It's not a figment of our imagination. It's really happening. So watch this. Watch Kyle Clark and how biased he is, and action.
I missed something during last week's Donald Trump rally in Aurora. Was standing there, heard it, just wasn't sure if I heard what I thought I heard. So was talking in Aurora about using the U.S. military against Americans that he says hate this country. Listen to what he said.
We have the greatest military in the world, but you have to know how to use them. You have to know how to use them. But I protect you against outside enemies. But, I always say we have the outside enemy. So you can say China, you can say Russia, you can say Kim Jong-un, you can say, but that's not, it's going to be fun. If you have a smart president, no problem. It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia.
All right, the military thing and the enemy within, like the comments are kind of next to each other, but it's not super clear. Well, over the weekend on Fox, Trump just came out and said what he seemed to be saying in Aurora. He has the desire to use the U.S. military against American citizens.
Kyle Clark, no. Make America understand nuance again. Make common sense common again. Oh my goodness.
Problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics.
See, and he's talking about on election day. Does he think that the people who are committing these heinous crimes, who are destroying America, are going to probably do stuff on election day? Yeah, but that's not really where the fraud. See, the root of the problem is, the lunatic left radicals who are creating the problem. Criminals are a result of the problem that they created and allowed to happen.
And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
The Harris campaign responded to that, saying that it should, quote, alarm every American who cares about their freedom and security.
Oh, Kyle, you're so dramatic. He belongs on a soap opera, doesn't he? Can he do the one eyebrow? Maybe so. All right, get back to the Trump rally. I want to share with you actually my favorite joke of the evening, which I think has been totally missed because the left jumped all over the joke they hated because they wanted to make it about that, because that's what their job is cancel culture.
Are going under. Grocery prices are too expensive. I tell a story. Last summer, I was coming back from a fishing trip with two of my boys, and we went to McDonald's, and it was $48 for a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old, and me. And guys, let me tell you, if Donald Trump Jr. has sticker shock at McDonald's, we have a serious problem.
Yeah, this was a funny joke because he's rich. Like, that's the joke, right? It's different than hate speech. I wish we could come back to a place where America had discernment and they understood when somebody was just deliberately hateful and when they're trying to tell a joke, right? But okay, here's what they were really upset about.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay, all right, okay, we're getting there. Again, normally I don't follow the national anthem, everybody. This isn't exactly a perfect comedy setup.
Awkward, right? But we have to be allowed to eat it at Madison Square Gardens in one of the most important rallies ever. I mean, if you can't do that, then you're not American. This one I thought was actually funny. And of course, you probably didn't. I mean, maybe you saw this, but the haters maybe didn't. But I actually thought this was funny. And I'm not like a big Tony Hinchecliff fan, but, you know, God bless him. It's like, this is what he does. He jokes. And, you know, there are musicians that I can respect that are really good musicians that aren't my favorite. That's the world. That's called the United States of America. And Trump didn't have everybody like, okay, this is exactly what you're going to do and you have to follow the script. That's the whole point.
Get shot. He went down, saw blood on his hands. I'd imagine he thought right then, I think I just won this shit. Stands up and says the most American words I've ever heard in my life. No. Before that, there was one more. Let me get my shoes. Fearless. Perhaps still with an active shooter. He's talking like a guy that just had the best one-night stand of his life. Right? Like, where's my shoes at? I got to get the hell out of here.
I mean, it's funny. It's not like the best thing ever in the whole life, but it's funny. Look, we have to be allowed to joke around. Name me one comic that you love, even your favorite comedian. I guarantee they've had a night where they didn't do well. I guarantee, okay?
The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh, okay. Okay, that's what you guys want.
That one was funny. You have to admit, that's a little funny. That's the joke they really didn't like, but they're pretending like it's the other jokes. What do you think? This is from Lou Santino from Live Nation. He's awesome.
I am a Puerto Rican Dominican. Let me make sure I hold my phone. I'm a Puerto Rican Dominican. My father's Dominican. My mom's Puerto Rican. I was raised in Puerto Rico for the first 7 years of my life. And I was at the Madison Square Garden rally where this joke that was told by a comedian by the name of Tony Hinchecliff, who is a comedian, by the way. I've seen a lot of people write articles like CNN, Politico, and a lot of people send me articles because this has been the #1 topic that people want to talk to me about. See, people think that this is an I told you so moment. I told you, Lou, those people, they don't like you. Those people hate you, Lou. Look at what they're saying about Puerto Rico. Look what Trump said about Puerto Rico. I said, Trump didn't say that. Trump did not say that at all. Actually, Tony Hinchecliff, a comedian, said that. And he said a lot of other things that night. So I had a lot of people send me articles that said that Trump's rally was racist. The whole rally was racist because of one comedian's joke. So let me get this straight. Let's get straight what even happened in the first place. Can we talk about what actually happened?
Yeah.
It was a comedian by the name of Tony Hinchecliff who just previously went viral at the Tom Brady roast for roasting everybody. It goes crazy on Hollywood, and he has a show called Kill Tony. If you don't know who this comedian is, He's hilarious. Now, this joke and Trump's team and what the hell they were thinking by having this guy go on stage and go no holds bar. You see, me and you know that he's telling jokes, making crazy jokes, by the way. Me and you know this, right? But the world doesn't know this. This is
That's the whole point. And then he goes on to say, you know, they're looking for something to find that's racist, and this was their perfect hook. And he says he doesn't really like the joke. You know, I mean, even the whole audience there was like, yeah, joke didn't really work. But it's freedom of speech. Now, go check out Lou Valentino at Live Nation, spelled LV Nation. I'll link that video even in the description so you guys can watch the whole thing. But let me know what you think. I mean, I thought the energy last night was amazing. I think that people are really upset because he had a huge turnout, and they say that Adolf Hitler had the rally there last time. Well, also lots of musicians have played there. A lot of different people have played there. A lot of comics have played at Madison Square Gardens. So now Madison Square Gardens is just a racist Nazi venue, or what is it? You just hate Donald Trump is what it is. And so you're just looking for anything. And the last time that New York turned red was when Ronald Reagan had a rally at Madison Square Gardens, and then he won, right? So they're mad for many different reasons. But you're going to say that every single person at that rally, every Trump supporter, which are millions in the nation, are Nazis and fascists, and you don't think that that's hate talk? Now, if the comedian had gone up there and talked about let's hate everybody and was real specific on how to do it, that's hate speech. That's rhetoric. That's terrible. What he did was tell some jokes that didn't work. So whether you love him or don't love him, we have to protect freedom of speech. And that's really what it's all about. And it is sad that they turned a really great night into something awful. But of course, we know that that is what they do. That's their MO. Kamala was ecstatic that she had something on him. It's absolutely ridiculous. I have one more thing to show you just quickly about nuance, about Kamala saying, you know, he's going to be a dictator on day one. He said it. He's going to be a dictator.
Madison Square Garden really highlighted a point that I've been making throughout this campaign. He is focused and actually fixated on his grievances, on himself, and on dividing our country. Not in any way something that will strengthen the American family, the American worker.
No, Kamala, you are not strengthening the American family and the American worker. If you want to see who the American family and American worker is, just look who's voting for Donald Trump. I mean, seriously, not that there aren't some good people voting for Kamala, but for the most vast majority, it's the global elite. It's all the celebrities. These are not the American worker, right? By vast majority, the American worker is going for Trump. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And it's because of his policies. It's because of his policies. Even some people don't even love always the way he talks or the way he jokes, but it doesn't matter because it comes down to policies. There's probably some people that don't love the way Tim Walz talks about being friends with school shooters, or you, Kamala, putting moms in jail because they're late bringing their kids to school. I'm going to do a video on that next, so you're going to have to watch that. That's not going to be in this video, but oh boy.
It is nothing about what he is saying that is actually going to support the aspirations, the dreams, and the ambitions of the American people.
Yes, they are, because we're going to be safe. We can make money. We'll have healthy food. We'll be able to afford food. We'll have healthy drinking water. We're going to be able to afford to live. We're going to stop fueling the fire of racism like you keep doing. We're not doing that. Trump's not doing that. You're doing that by calling him a fascist and all of his supporters Nazis. That incites hate in your camp against this camp. It's not okay. So everything you're saying, I'm sorry, is a lie.
It is absolutely something that is intended to and is fanning the fuel of trying to divide our country. And as I've said many times, I'll say tomorrow night in my speech, there's a big difference between he and I. If he were elected on day one, he's going to be sitting in the Oval Office working on his enemies list. On day one, if I'm elected president of the United States, which I fully intend to be, I will be working on behalf of the American people on my to-do list.
No and no. It seems like her American people, her new way forward, are the criminals. Those to her are American people, but people like me, people who are worried about safety, people who want to be able to provide for my daughter, people who want to just be able to live and have liberty and justice for all, we're not the American people anymore. And the reason why so many people are voting for Donald Trump, let me know if you agree, is because he actually has a solid plan that's going to help us literally on day one. And even though she says, oh, he's going to be a dictator on day one, this is the truth of it. This is what actually, when he says, again, this is nuance. I want you to watch for the nuance, okay? Let's make nuance possible again. Let's make common sense common again. What he's talking about here is on day one, he's going to be a bit of a dictator, because what he means is that the two things that are non-negotiable is that he's going to close the border and immediately start making us safer again. And number two, he's going to drill, baby, drill. And it's not up for negotiation. But then after that, day 2 and on, we're going to talk. We're going to have negotiations. But those two things, because it's a non-negotiable, he's kind of joking and just like, I'm going to be a dictator because I'm going to do these two things no matter what. That's like any good like parent would do, right? If my daughter was sick, it's like, okay, non-negotiable. You're not going out of the house in the snow with no shoes on and a coat. It's a non-negotiable. You're going to put your shoes on. I'm going to be a bit of a dictator about this. You're going to put your shoes on and socks and a coat on and a hat. And you're going to get plenty of sleep and drink a lot of water. And that's sort of a dictator attitude, right? Like it's a little bit of a joke, even though I guess we can't joke about dictator. We can't joke about that, Trump. That's the problem. We can't make jokes about that. But it's just to say, okay, these are the two things that are going to help and heal immediately as a parent. These are the things that are going to help and heal immediately. So it's non-negotiable. Whereas other things are like, do you want the cherry popsicle or the grape one when you're sick as you're healing? I'm going to give you that choice. But for this, you got to put on your hat, your shoes, your coat. You're going to get plenty of rest and fluids. You know, I mean, come on. Okay, let's watch what he says.
Tonight, you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody.
Except for day one.
Except
Look,
for?
he's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border and I want to drill.
That's
drill,
not. That's
drill.
That's not.
Oh, no.
That's not retribution.
I'm going to be. You know, he keeps. We love this guy. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, "No. Other than day one, we're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator."
So
Right. After that, no. It's just those two things. I'm non-negotiable. We're going to drill. We're going to close the border because the drilling is going to immediately stimulate the economy. It's going to help. You know, we're going to feel those effects really fast. And closing the border, we're going to feel those effects really fast. What do you think of this video? If you found value in this video, please comment, subscribe, like all the things if you're really generous. If you're just a little generous, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And the next tier of generosity is to like and comment and tell me how you feel about this. The next level of generosity is to share it. Oh, and you could even buy me a cup of coffee. I could use some coffee. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time.